Hey guys, it's Jason. Welcome back to Martial Arts Theater 3000. This is the Game of Clones. It's called Enter the Game of Clones. We're going to be covering the box set today. And I have some of my great friends with me here. I'm going to do an introduction. We got Kaleb from Kaleb's Kung Fu Cinema.
How's it going?
Of course, Leon from Hong Kong and Beyond.
Hi, everyone.
Johnny, the Fanatical Dragon.
Afternoon, all.
And Sean from Food for Thought.
What's up, everyone?
Cool. And we're going to, be covering the Game of Clones. We've been working on this. We had it at 5 weeks. We added an extra week because there's so much content on all of this. And before we begin, we have a special guest. I'm really excited. He's going to have a few words here.
Enter the Game of Clones. It's a pretty good title. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to go through this box set, spend a couple hours doing it. This set and all the things it sets out to accomplish have been years and years in the making, and in some cases for me, a lifetime in the making. This is these what we now refer to as Bruceploitation movies, but when I was a kid, it was the Bruce Lee ripoff movies, were how they were the prism in which I began to see action cinema after Bruce Lee, and going to see these films, oftentimes thinking I was going to see a little Bruce Lee. And it was this fascination I developed with it over the years, and as I got older and mature and looking back on these films, where I began to realize how they, for many of us in the Western world, were how we all started to see action cinema and learn about Bruce Lee. As false as it may be sometimes, this is how we began to learn and work our way through all the myths and legends as they were. So there is a lot going into this, and these films have been unfortunately lost in many cases, beaten up, discarded, and I am now, along with my day job, making movies, trying my best to bring them back to life. And provide the necessary context with voices that still exist, thankfully, that can talk about these films and tell us how they were made, why they were made, the passion that went behind them, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot to be learned that nobody's really taken the time to ask. I know there's a lot of people that are curious about it out there. So that is what I'm hoping to accomplish with part of my remaining years on this planet. We are going to have a volume 2. We've gone through a number of films that we've managed to either secure the rights to or find elements to. I have about 12 or 13 picked. I don't know if they're all going to be in volume 2 or not. There's a few dependents, but I can tell you there's going to be a couple in there that people are absolutely going to love. And the content, which I'm beginning to shoot next week, as a matter of fact, it will outdo the first one. Let's put it that way. So if you love Bruce Lee, you love Bruce Lee, you love Dragon Lee, you're going to be happy with this. And if you love a few of the others, you're going to be happy as well. So anyways, thanks for talking about this, guys. I hope you have a great talk. I will be listening. And I'll see you in the next volume.
All right. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, guys. So since we have such a big box set, I thought we'd jump right in, and I'll take, from the top. So we're basically going to just discuss a disc at a time. And on the first one, since there's only one movie, you could just give your overall take on the box set or overall first impressions and your opinion on Enter the Clones of Bruce. So like if there's a movie you don't have too much of opinion on it, or you don't want to say much, you could talk more about the other one, or however you guys feel, So,
Cool.
So disc 1, Enter the Clones of Bruce. I saw this in Manhattan, and I got to meet Bruce Lee. It was such an experience flying in to do this and seeing it on the big screen. And I know Leon got to see it on the big screen too. Well, you saw it before that, but seeing it on the big screen just blew my mind. And I thought the documentary, what struck me so much about the documentary is that I was expecting just Bruceploitation from the get-go, but the nice intro they did about Bruce Lee when it got the Shaw brothers and just I mean, I'm such a Shaw Brothers head that if I can even get the little nugget or the littlest thing about Shaw Brothers, I just like get so giddy inside, like get back behind the scenes footage and all that. So I was like goosebumps central just seeing these workers go in, probably having a shitty day to set up some lights or something, you know. But I was just like goosebump McGee in that theater, like, oh my God, they're talking about Shaw Brothers. Or the behind the scenes, and then of course the Bruceploitation stuff was great. So moving with Bruce Lai. I was so like touched from his story. So great to see Bruce Lee, and I just was blown away by the insights, how they kept it lighthearted, the tongue-in-cheek nature of it all, and I thought it was awesome. It was amazing. So that's like, of course, how I feel about Enter the Clones of Bruce. The box set itself, I don't think I've ever got a Severn like item before or disc. I was so impressed. I thought it was great. I wanted to ask you guys, someone might have been Fanatical Dragon. Did you mention your like the words on it are gloss for you or raised on the cover of the box set?
No,
Like
no, just like spot glossed. So there's
Yeah.
like there's that like ever so slight sheen around the text. But
Yeah,
and so that feels, the printing on it feels a tiny bit different because of that gloss, but it's not like debossed or embossed.
yeah, mine is absolutely flat. Mine is like
Oh.
absolutely flat.
Mine's the same as Dragon's. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's just like that too.
yeah, got
Yeah.
like a sheen to it.
Mine is flush. Maybe I had like a super early one or something.
It's
Who
not
knows?
like you only like. I mean, you feel it differently because it's got that sort of sheen print to it, but it's not like
Yeah.
it's raised or lowered from the box.
Oh, cool.
So I think it's probably, there's not different versions of that. There's different versions of the book, I know, but I think there's just one version of the set.
Oh, different versions of the book. Interesting.
Well, if you got the book through Severn, it's different to the one that people would get through Amazon. And
Okay,
there
so
was like a
maybe
funding.
maybe the book doesn't cover the bonus disc in it or something.
Oh no! Sorry, I'm confusing the issue. Not the book that's inside the box set, like because you got the super hyper Bruceploitation fan bundle where you got like the poster book. The poster book,
yeah.
the separate poster book is the one that has different versions. But the box set, there's only one. But all of ours will be the same.
Oh, cool. Yeah, actually, the poster book wasn't in the bundle. I just was like, I had to buy everything.
Me too.
Okay,
Me too.
you
That's
got it.
exactly what I did. I had to
Yeah.
scoop them both up. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I love it. And to get a little technical, Dragon's the one that taught me this. Like, I hate on DVDs or Blu-rays when you're watching them and like you go back to watch them, it doesn't start in the same spot. You know, Severn was really good with that. They put in the extra stuff. I was a little bit like, I thought the hard of hearing, which is a good thing, of course, for deaf people, but I thought it was very overbearing, the subtitles in this, if you put them on. I thought the hard of hearing, like, I mean, if a cricket moved, it was telling you on this one. You know, I was like, wow, this is the most hard of hearing subtitles. I mean, if a twig, I had so much, it was unbelievable. But that's not like a knock on it. I was just like, wow. But yeah, I love the set. I thought it was great that every time I started it back up, I was right where I started, you know. And I thought love the digipacks, and the book is premium, and yeah, I was really impressed. Yeah, so cool. I go over to Kaleb. What were your initial thoughts, if you'd like, or in discuss Enter the Clones of Bruce?
Yeah. So I said this to Jason and Leon. I think I said this last night, but if we're being honest here, I probably only liked half of the movies on this set. However, that's not a knock on anything. I still think this set, you know, regardless of, you know, the quality of the films or whatever, I think the set should have been released anyway. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, oh, they shouldn't have put this film on the set or they should have put that movie on the set. You know, because I think, you know, when it comes to this genre, something that I'm still very new to. I didn't know a whole lot about Bruceploitation. My experience with it is very limited, but you know, I think they need to show like both the best and the worst of the genre. Like, don't just put the best movies out there. Don't just put the worst movies out there. So I'm really glad that the set is out here. Even if probably half the movies I wasn't that big a fan of. So yeah, I'm just like really glad that I got it, you know, because again, my experience with Bruceploitation very limited. So I'm learning all of it now with this set and everything. So yeah, I'm honestly thrilled that I got it and that it's out. It's really exciting. As far as the Enter the Clones of Bruce documentary goes, I will say it was eye-opening, like very eye-opening. Bruce Lai, oh man, like Jason said earlier, his story is very gripping. I really love Bruce Lei's segments in there. Bruce Lei, Dragon Lee, really cool to see those guys. Bruce Lei is probably my favorite. Like, I know I've said that to Jason before. Again, even with my limited experience, I still probably say Bruce Lei was my favorite. But even now, he's still probably my favorite. I loved watching him. He's so much fun. With the exception of one thing, we'll get to it. But yeah, I think the set's really great. Enter the Clones of Bruce, I think, it's probably the best movie on the set. I know that's a documentary, though. You know, if we're not going to include the documentary in like the best movie conversation, you know, then I don't really know what I would say the best one is. But if we're going to include that, yeah, this is the best thing about the set.
Yeah, like just a quick add-on. I feel like it's kind of like the centerpiece to it. So if you have like bad movies on it, it kind of anchors them because you learn about it. You learn about some are going to be so bottom of the barrel that it gives them you look at them, there's more interest to it, and you have more of a like critical eye on it that you can respect it versus like trying to see if it's like a Academy Award winning. I can't even say that word for some of these, you know, as a joke because they're so far from that. But yeah, I think the documentary anchors a lot of it, kind of gives you the perspective, you know.
Yeah.
To the book. Cool. Leon, first impressions or overall take on the box and Enter the Clones of Bruce?
Well, the box, I think it's a very lovely item to have. And the documentary, Enter the Clones of Bruce, it just, it's the best documentary I think I've seen for me since The Best of the Martial Arts. And that thing I used to watch over and over and over again. And I could quite easily do the same with this one. And seeing it on the big screen was absolutely beautiful. I was a little disappointed when I went to see it that there wasn't a bigger audience there. I think more people will go for just the films. And I thought, well, you're missing out here because, you know, it was rather spectacularly put together, and everybody that they got for the documentary, all the interviews, just the way they edited the whole thing. Like you say, the little bit with the Shaw brothers, and then having Philip Coe and Mars, hearing them converse and reflect on the past. Yeah, just beautiful. And I'm sure it's one that I will return to many, many times.
Cool. Sean?
Yeah, I think it's a great time to be alive as a Bruceploitation fan. The fact that I can hold this in my hands is crazy. I mean, years ago, I wouldn't have even dreamed of anything like this getting released. And it's nuts. And I mean, if I point there, to have Bruce Lei's autograph on a poster, it's like almost like it's not real. I think the documentary is fantastic. I mean, there's something about the Bruceploitation actors that they seem almost mythical because they never had any personalities outside of them trying to be Bruce. So hearing them actually talk and discuss their stories, it was so unique and so interesting. And I was lucky enough to get a review copy of the documentary, so I actually saw it quite early. And I was desperate to discuss it with people. I was just waiting for everyone to see it. And yeah, I mean, now obviously I'm here with you guys and able to discuss it. But I think there's something wonderful about it in that I think Bruceploitation fans are completely, you know, enamored by it. But I also like the idea that some people that aren't fan of Bruceploitation started picking it up just to check it out, just to see what it's like. And some people are finding Bruceploitation and really enjoying it. If we can talk about, are we doing a separate segment for special features, or shall I talk about them a little bit now?
No, on each disc you can throw it in. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so the special features on the Enter the Game of Clones documentary, I loved. This isn't directly related to Bruce. Well, it is in a way, but it's not the Bruceploitation that I enjoyed people talking about. It was how Philip Coe and Lo Meng would talk about Shaw Brothers and how Lau Gar Lung seemed to be everyone's hero, like Lau Gar Lung or Chang Che, right? They seem to be everyone's hero and just so far above everyone else. So hearing them talk about that, I mean, I can sit down and listen to the about the industry forever, but hearing them talk with such like joy and such respect in their heart about these people, it's just fantastic. And I have to say, I do not like special features where people go to locations and go, hey, this is where Drunken Master was filmed.
Yeah.
This one is fantastic. Frank
Yeah.
Jank has such a personality, and he is so smart and knowledgeable on these things that I absolutely loved it, which is a complete rarity for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot to mention those. I think the special features on this disc are the best on the set, in my opinion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, them showing Bruce's house and the Shaw Brothers studio. And I mean, I'm sure the Shaw Brothers studio is gone, or that Shaw house, because I think they filmed in like 2017 or something. But yeah, I was moved to a lot of that. They did such a good job. It was really the quality of it, even if it was a handheld, everything was so HD and awesome, impressive.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I meant to throw that in there too. I forgot about the little location tour that they did. That's probably my favorite feature on. Actually, no, I take that back. My favorite feature or special feature is the one about the movie theaters in Chinatown. But we'll dive into that a little bit more. But
cool.
I really did love this one too. Yeah.
Cool. Dragon, first impressions on the box and Enter the Clones.
I think you can almost think of the box set as being like the best box set for a documentary. Like I almost view all the films as special features of the documentary feature. Like there's no surprise that it's on disc 1, right? I think that sets the tone for everything that follows. And it's just an incredible achievement. As a few other folks have said, as Leon said, like seeing Philip Cole was the thing. As much as I loved seeing the various Bruces, Philip Cole was the one that emotionally sucker punched me because he died so kind of quickly after that, right? And Philip Cole was a huge part of the movies that I kind of really adored growing up, and his fight against Gordon Liu at the end of 8 Diagram Pole Fighter, probably within my top like 3 fight scenes of all time, right? He was incredible, and he was so like deferential to Mars, which was kind of cool to see. Like you hardly ever see Mars getting propped, right? And it was just really sweet, and I think that happened totally by accident. Like they weren't expecting Philip Cole to turn up, and I think Mars just threw him a bone because they were paying those guys for the time that they were giving, and at that point in time all these guys are sort of struggling for money. So I think it was so cool that they kind of got a chance to be brought together. Loved seeing Lo Meng in there. All the Shaw Brothers stuff for me was just an absolute treat. But I thought didn't know how it was going to be because I'd seen, like Jason, I'd never picked up a Severin release before, but I had seen one other documentary by David Gregory before. Like he made the Lost Souls, the documentary about the making of the island of Dr. Moreau, which is insane. Like you absolutely see that documentary if you haven't. But that was like a deep dive, laser focus on one movie. So I was like, how's this dude going to handle like an entire genre in a way that somehow makes sense and is coherent? And he pulled it off. Like I think it was an amazing like snapshot of a time period, but never felt overloaded in any one area. Everyone's still, although the interview clips were quite short, the stuff that they chose to use was all kind of really super on point. Yeah. It's so cool seeing Sammo Hung in there because he hardly ever speaks about this stuff ever, right? Yeah. And so I think all the people that they got were just really valuable. And I think from what Michael Worth had said, like the first cut was like 3 hours, and the version that we get on the documentary in the end is like 94 minutes. I was going to ask you guys that saw it at the cinema, did you see the same cut, or did you see like a slightly different edit when you saw it in the festival? Okay.
When I saw it, it was the same because David Gregory, like before he mentioned it, he said he had to get it down to the 90 minutes or wanted to get it to the 90 minutes. And which is something we should discuss. 90 minutes is like the theme of every movie here. When I went to hit it, like, oh, how long is this? Hour 28, hour 30, every time, you know what I mean? Like right on the money. But later, I'll bring it up later. I found out why that is, later on. But yeah, it was the same cut. Yeah.
I thought it was cool that they basically gave us all that extra stuff. So I know, like Sean, you said you're not normally a fan of special features, but I kind of viewed it all as like all those extra little chunks.
Yeah.
Were what would have been a part of that kind of full, proper experience from seeing the whole documentary. If you were just watching every stitch of footage that they shot, loved the separate little Shaw Brothers feature, really liked Frank's location feature, but the one that sort of surprisingly I found the most like eye-opening was the one on film restoration, where they took Lee Soy-Nam back to like the film archive in Taiwan. That was fantastic, right? And more Godfrey Ho in any situation is always a good thing. I could listen to that dude speak all day, every day. He's just a total joy. Anytime he showed up, it's just so fucking cool when you saw him like storting about with his wee backpack. I hope I'm that cool when I'm in my 70s, like with that much energy. Yeah, that dude's a legend, right?
That's an interesting thing about Godfrey Ho, though. He was like at one point he was a co-director to Chang-Che, and yet nowadays he's known as that director that made those terrible ninja films. So at one point he was with the greatest Hong Kong director, of that era, well, other than Lau Kar-leung, and now he's just like, oh, this ninja dude. Like he's known for cut and paste films. It's very interesting.
Right. Or he's known for people like putting his name on at the last minute too. On stuff that's not even related. Yeah.
But I think that's because have you guys got the Ninja Terminator set?
Yes.
So weirdly, it's like a good companion to this, right? So there's a couple of really good Godfrey Ho interviews that Arne Venema did. And he sort of speaks about how that sort of came about, but that's a separate conversation for a separate video. But I think like the two weirdly go really nicely together. I'm kind of it's cool that they kind of came out in the same year.
I think it's sold out now, that set, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think they'll re-release it. They'll re-release it just without the separate kind of movie that they lifted the footage from. And that one doesn't have any extra features on it. So if you wait a couple of months and get the single release, it'll be cheaper and it'll be easier to get, and it won't be a limited edition. So it'll come around again. I thought that the documentary is the absolute shining star of the box set for me, and that allowed me to like be a lot more forgiving with the movies that I maybe didn't enjoy quite so much, and in a couple of instances just flat out did not like at all. Looking at you, Cameron Connection, but we'll get there in time.
Cool. All right, so we're going on to disc 2 here. I can be a chatty Cathy, self-admittedly, so I'm going to try to skip through a little more. Or
all of us can do. That's why we all have channels.
Yeah, Clones of Bruce Lee. This one's not one of my favorite. I don't know why. On paper, it should be like your favorite thing ever if you love Bruceploitation. But some of the fights in it, like especially the fight at the end of Dragon Lee and Bolo Young, who I adore, that fight is like so clunky. I don't know why. That fight is just like really odd. And it's fun for like the grindhouse laughing, get a theater laughing element. But overall, it's like not high up for me on that one. But I do enjoy it. And when Dragon Lee is fighting Bruce Lee, it's like, I don't know, that's like peak Bruceploitation, even if it's good or bad. That's like, what is happening here? So Clones of Bruce Lee is crazy, but it's not one of my favorites. Enter Three Dragons has really good fights, but the plot, that plot, I think they wrote on a napkin like 5 minutes before filming, and it's just, that's the problem with Kung Fu movies. They can have the simplest plot, like, so simple, and sometimes they'll put that aside and then the fights are great, or sometimes they make the plot so convoluted about the simplest thing that at gunpoint I probably couldn't tell you the plot of Enter Three Dragons. I know that guy like diamonds, and he's like gangsters won't leave him alone, and like
there's like 12 people in that film called Dragon.
Oh my gosh, I know. The jury is still out. I have to ask Michael Worth. So in Enter the Clones, there's a guy, Bruce Lai, Lai. Then in Enter Three Dragons, I think there's also a guy named Bruce Lai, Lai, the guy at the beginning in the yellow tracksuit. But I don't know. And I was thinking, for the documentary or for the stream, I'll call him Bruce Lai 3. And I'm like, oh, whatever. We don't know his name. And then there's a Bruce Tai who is Charles from Clones of Bruce Lee. So I think that's part of the charm, getting lost in how many Bruces you have, But Enter the Three Dragons, I do like more than Clones of Bruce Lee for the fights and Philip Ko, Philip Ko is the enemy at the end. He brings it up because I too love Philip Ko. I think he really there's Leon with his
there we go.
This is Leon's for the hearing impaired section. He's going to give his takes. But so End of Three Dragons had some difficulties with too, but I enjoyed that one more, even though the plot is like, what the heck's going on, So how about you, Kaleb, for that disc 2?
I actually liked Clones of Bruce Lee more than Three Dragons, and I think it really just boiled down to entertainment. Clones of Bruce Lee, I did not give a shit about what was going on. Like it was really just okay. There's a bunch of Bruce Lee clones, and there's some fighting, and it's fun. Like I had a lot of fun with that one. It was great seeing John Ben, which I will throw this in there. The little interview with him that Michael Worth did, amazing. Really good interview. I love that.
That was sad.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, I think just on an entertainment level, I like Clones of Bruce Lee more. Enter Three Dragons, I did not like it at first, but as it went on, I was like, okay, this is actually pretty fun. Like this, you know, as the movie carries on and then the fights start happening, they're firing on all cylinders with the fights. I remember like whenever the finale was going on, like Dragon Lee comes in there at the end, but then you also got like Bruce LAI fighting and all that. You get them fighting. Like, so whenever that started, I was like, damn, this is cool. I really like watching all those fights go down. But yeah, like for the first half of Enter Three Dragons, oh yeah, I was really confused. It's like, are you Dragon? Yeah, I'm Dragon. Like, where's the other dragon? Like, I'm Dragon. It's just weird. And then why is Dragon Lee playing a character named Bruce? Like, what? And then there's two other dragons. I don't get it. I don't know. But I mean, yeah. If I had to pick which one I like more, I like Clones more. But I will say, Enter Three Dragons had a absolutely stellar finale.
Awesome, Leon.
Well, as you can see, I have a thumbs up and a thumbs down. So that means I'm somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were going to highlight one of them. I thought you were going to highlight one.
No. That's just I'm somewhere in the middle. Clones of Bruce Lee, I haven't watched on this actual disc release.
Yeah.
This one, last time I saw it was on a YouTube viewing, and it was actually the one that made me think, okay, maybe I need to explore a little more, because I enjoyed the fights, as Kaleb said. I thought there were a lot of fun in this. I love having Bolo in there. Anytime Bolo's in, I'm sold. And yeah, I was looking forward to getting back to it, because I thought that when I saw this one, I just didn't quite enjoy it as much as I did the Clones. Enter Three Dragons, it was just, the story was so ropey on it. And there was, with the fight scenes, although some of them were good, they felt of really varying quality between the performers to me. Yeah. And yeah, I just, again, I'm somewhere in between. There was some really good stuff that I did enjoy. But from memory, I'd say I'd have to give it to Clones, but it's very narrow. I need to watch it again before I can make a full decision on this. But yeah, in between, oh yeah, full disclaimer as well, I haven't done any of the extras. Between solid watching the films and therapy sessions, I just didn't have time.
Cool.
But yeah, you need therapy for watching these.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? You need Bruceploitation therapy.
I've been having dreams. While I'm going around going,
yeah, for me, I'm kind of gonna go in a different direction. I think this is other than the documentary, this is my favorite disc on the set, personally. Not because the films are stellar, which, you know, I like them. I actually like both films, but for me, this encapsulates Bruceploitation. You've got all the clones popping up. You've got Bolo, which is, you know, perfect. You got Philip Coe popping up. I just think it completely encapsulates everything you want from Bruceploitation. So I really, really like the disc. I actually put Enter Three Dragons above the Clones of Bruce Lee, but I think kicking off the set after the documentary with Clones of Bruce Lee is perfect. I think that's a great, great move. If someone's watching this disc by disc, which I think most people do, I think that's just a perfect kickoff film. It's insane. It's got everyone in it, and it's just for me, it's a joy to watch because it has the essence of Bruceploitation. Enter Three Dragons, the mental plot is kind of cast aside for me, and I just enjoyed it. It's an absolute fight fest, and for a Kung Fu cinema fan, that's what I love. Fights from start to finish, and to be honest, I don't mind the fight choreography in either one. I know the Clones is a bit clunky. I will agree with Jason. It's pretty clunky, but I don't know. There's something about it that I do actually like. But maybe that's because I know the Clones are generally clunky in a lot of films. So maybe I'm just more forgiving. But yeah, I enjoyed this disc. I thought it was pretty solid.
Cool.
All right, Dragon.
I'm kind of in the middle, not quite to the dizzying highs that it was for Sean, but certainly not. I can really enjoy both. I think, like Kaleb, probably Clones is the one that I will more likely go back to and watch as a complete movie. The Three Dragons, I'd probably jump to the end and watch the Philip Cole fight rather than suffering through trying to work out. Although I think there's maybe kind of more sort of quotable fun in that movie because the dub's so insane and some of the absolute screamed lines are pretty entertaining, particularly from Dragon Lee. I think I dig the storyline in Clones. As weird as it is, the Bruceploitation movies that I generally like the most are the ones that don't just try and, I don't really like the biopics anything like as much as I like the crazier entries, right? When they try and do their own thing and when they sort of try and at least sort of be a little bit fresh with the sort of stories, because we never got to see, like, the real Bruce Lee never really got to make any sort of science fiction movie, right? He wasn't around long enough for his career to descend into that, or ascend, depending on how you wanted it, into those sort of areas, right? So he never got a chance to diversify his brand that way. So I kind of dig it when Bruceploitation basically just shamelessly jumped into whatever else was popular at the time. So I kind of like the sort of campy sci-fi element of how they go about doing the clones, and just the fact they call them Bruce 1, 2, and 3 kind of tickles me. And I dig it. So I think between the two, and for Chang-To as well, it's always cool seeing Chang-To, another Shaw Brothers veteran, and he was really funny, right? He's kind of got a sort of twinkle in his eye in Clones that was really cool, because sometimes he was just straight villain in a lot of Shaw's movies, and in the Bruceploitation stuff, you kind of got to like just enjoy himself a little bit more, I think. So I really enjoyed him in this, training up our various clones, and Bo was cool fun to see too. But yeah, Chang-To was probably the MVP for me from that first movie, even more than the clones, right? I loved seeing him. And then special features wise, I think I did check out the John T. Benn interview. That was on the Clones disc, wasn't it? Yeah. And that was pretty good. It's kind of, and I haven't gone through the commentary, but I think his brother's on the commentary track, which I will dive into at some point. So yeah, first disc, solid stuff. Top above tier.
Cool. Yeah, my one thing I wanted to add is, I almost said Fanatical Dragon. Dragon Lee, he always was like the one I didn't watch as much, and he always felt like in these movies like a peripheral character, because they filmed him I think it was filmed in Korea on one of them, and they did the rest in Hong Kong or at different times. So not only is he such a character of Bruceploitation, like he's like not even like, doesn't feel like a real person. It feels like a character that he's just kind of sidelined in a lot of these. So when it got to some of these later ones, and I got to see him branch out and not do the Bruceploitation the whole time, it's like, okay, that's the moments for me where that's why you kind of like, it takes it up a level for me, where Bruce Lee is trying to get away from the Bruceploitation. Bruce Lee is trying to get away, and Dragon Lee is not thumbing his nose every 5 seconds.
He's busting out shapes.
yeah, that little whatever that is. But like that, for me, that's the magic of Bruceploitation. Them trying to break out from it. That's the real story here. You know what I mean? And that's All right, so jumping on to disc 3. I hope I don't lose the number here. Yeah, disc 3. Enter the Game of Death is like a childhood favorite for me, and I absolutely love it. It's so ridiculous. I swear the plot of that movie is 2 minutes long, and it's just a gonzo movie of fight scenes, and they're good. It falls into the problem of kung fu movies. I think sometimes they'll say, "Oh, you're a great villain, so we're going to have you fight 3 times because we don't have enough guys," or something. He fights Bowler like 4 times in that movie. So,
and playing different characters too, Ken, isn't he? Doesn't Bowler play like 2 different people in it?
I thought what it was is he is Japanese and he's pretending he's Chinese, but that so at the end he says, "Oh, you guys thought I was." Oh wait, I think I got it wrong. He says, "You thought I was Chinese, but I'm really Japanese." I don't know. It is confusing. It is confusing.
I think he was actually Japanese, just like disguised as a Chinese, like in the movie.
Yeah, and then for Goodbye Bruce Lee, that one hurts me a little bit because I'm such a Bruce Lee fan. And I'm always like saying how great he is. And this one, it's his period before 1977 where he's not as good. He didn't find his footing. And I like to see the growth of Bruce Lee because, man, he's like he's heavy-footed. His acting, it's like, like when the acting gets real bad is when it actually shows the person in like, when you're doing like a childhood movie, like a good movie, like it starts and you're already like saying what you're going to be saying. On these movies, it goes to the guy, you can almost see action, and then they sit there and then it goes, It's like, I see a lot of that happening in some of these. And I guess part of it, what it is I want to like scream to the world how great Bruce Lee is. And when his showings weren't as good on here, it's like, oh, people are going to think he's horrible in some of this, but I think it's part of the story, it's part of the story. So I was a little bummed to see like not as much of his later stuff, but I think it's good to see this movie as like to see his growth. And not too much to say on that. I do think it's important to note, if you missed the special features on this, this is the American version. And so the American version just makes no sense. He has a Tower of Death in his town, whatever that means. And in the international version, if you watch the special features, he is sat down in a movie theater and told, you're going to be the successor to Bruce Lee. Here's his footage of Game of Death. And then it cuts to him, I guess, going up to Pagoda. But if you watch it as a special feature, you don't realize that this is supposed to be a movie within a movie.
Yeah.
It's very confusing. I don't know if I like it better with that in it, because I think that threw reviewers and the crowds. I think that like they didn't know what the heck was going on, because it never went back to the theater saying, oh, what do you think about this? So that's a good thing to point out. I think it's hysterical that they talk about the Tower of Death like it's like a McDonald's down the street, But yeah, so that's my take on that one. How about you, Kaleb?
Yeah. So I had watched Enter the Game of Death about a year ago, I think. Yeah, it was about a year ago, because I was just really curious about that one, and even and then like watching it again on the set, I love it more now than I did the first time I saw it. First time I saw it, I was like, it's fine, it's decent. But when I watch it now, I don't know. I think after watching like a couple more Bruceploitation films before that and watching the documentary, my appreciation for it grew. And so when I revisited Enter the Game of Death, I was like, okay, yeah, this movie is incredible. Like I really love it. I love the tower sequence. I love how long the tower sequence is. There's so much going on. He fights so many different people. I still hate the snake part. I still hate that. I hated it then. I hate it now, because I just don't like snakes. But and then it's just the animal cruelty. I can't deal with it. But yeah, I love that movie even more now. If there's one gripe I have about the movie, it is that towards the end, whenever like after they get out of the tower and then there's like the chase going on and stuff like that, a lot of the fight scenes are slowed down, so like the choreography, it just like really drags it out, like with certain moves. And it's like, and I was thinking like, okay, why do they have to slow it down so much? Because there's just, it's yeah, I didn't like that part. That's just like the one gripe I have about it, is that it's just too, a lot of parts of the finale are too slow. But other than that, Enter the Game of Death, I love it. One of my favorite movies on this set. Goodbye Bruce Lee was disappointing.
Yeah.
And Jason and I have had a lot of conversations like throughout the weeks about the set, and we talked a lot about Bruce Lee, because I had said before Bruce Lee is probably my favorite right now. But but he Jason of course has stressed to me, you got to see more of what Bruce Lee did afterwards, because this set is not it is probably not the best example of Bruce Lee. It's a lot of his like really early stuff. And so when I watched Goodbye Bruce Lee, I didn't really know what to expect. And so, yeah, I was really disappointed. This is neither here or there, but Bruce Lee's hair in that movie is very strange. I don't know if that was a wig or not in Goodbye Bruce Lee. It looked like a very poorly done bowl cut, like when I was 10 years old. But
there is another one with a wig. Yes.
Yeah, right there.
There's another one coming up with it. Is definitely a wig. I think that's just a yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's his real hair or not in Goodbye Bruce Lee. It looks, I don't know. But anyway, it's neither here or there. But I mean, I think the tower sequence was fine with him going up. I'm glad, and also kind of ashamed at the same time, that I watched the deleted scene where Bruce Lee fights the boxer with the Muhammad Ali like type guy. I think it's the dub, because the way they dub his voice in that scene is really weird. It's very.
It is so far off from what he's saying. It is so far off. Yeah.
Like, come on, man, let's fight. Yeah, that's kind of what he sounded like. But yeah. Anyway, overall, yeah, that movie was just kind of disappointing. I was not a huge fan of it, but I'm so glad for the experience. I'm glad I got to check it out.
Awesome, Leon.
Okay, would anybody like to hazard a guess at the thumb situation for the first one?
I'm going to get thumbs up.
Oh, thumbs down.
Ouch. Ouch.
I had high hopes for this because I'd heard a lot of good about it, and I was watching it in utter disbelief. I was like, what the hell? The amount of times that the thumb across the nose, it was like an annoying tick. And I have to say, I'm clearly worked out now. I'm definitely a Lie and not a Lay fan. I found this one painful, but the saving grace for me in this, even though I'll give it a thumbs down, was that we had one really good fight scene with Bolo in it, and I thought that's the best I've seen Bolo ever look. So I would definitely return to it, even though I'll give it the thumbs down. I think I need different elements to my films to, please me. And story is a big part of it for me. Even in a Kung Fu movie, believe it or not, I do need to grab onto some story. And I just didn't like the way it carried on after the tower, even though that's got, possibly my favorite fights in it. I was, very disillusioned with Enter the Game. Therefore, I expected to like it a lot more than I actually did. Now, if I click on to the next one, anybody want to hazard a guess?
If you went thumbs down for that, you have to do a thumbs down for the other one.
I agree.
I can't fathom you giving Goodbye Bruce Lee a thumbs up.
No.
There we go.
Oh, in the middle.
Wait, I'm confused.
No,
sort of.
Okay.
Mainly down, but I give it a tiny thumbs up. And now you have to hear me out here.
Is that mini Jeremy Beadle hand?
It's a bit like Scary Movie. No, take my good hand.
Take my hand, child. Take my hand. I love that movie.
My other hand's not strong enough.
When it started off, and we got the King of Kung Fu song, which I've just got to shout out to that. I love that song by Candy.
Me too.
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic. And I didn't realize being a King of Kung Fu had much to do with gymnastics till this film started, which was, quite an eye opener. Yeah. And I was lost then, but then we got into the film, and there was a little bit of storytelling to please Leon. That was okay. And there's some fight scenes before we get to the tower, yeah, and all that stuff. I was kind of digging. I thought, I quite like this. This is Bruce Lee. I like it. It's okay. What's everybody dislike on this one? And then you get to the tower. All of a sudden, I had this overwhelming feeling like I was watching a Jerry Anderson directed film. I'm like, what the hell? I never seen Bruce Lee look so much like a Thunderbird puppet.
Oh yeah, he does the rock sock'em robots like going across.
Yeah, and the bit where he's disappearing behind the guy with the sword and popping up, and I was like, oh no, please don't do it. And it hurt me, but there was something, despite how bad that was, there was like I don't know, the concept of it I kind of liked, and I thought, you know what, I will probably return to this because there's a couple of bits, like there's overhead shots when he's fighting in a couple of scenes that I really liked, and I think I liked what they were trying to do more than I do the finished product. Yeah. So I will go to this again, and I will be very aware of what I'm going to watch. And I know it's a little bit of a stinker, but I do like Lie, and even though that wig is awful, and the suit's a little bit baggy, what's going on, man? Show off your muscles, show off your physique. And but no, this one just pinched it out the two for me. And I know I'm looking at my subscriber count now. It's going down about 10 at a time. But fair dues, that was just my take on it. So I'll hand over to you, Sean.
I am also I've coined this phrase. I am also a lisexual. That's what I'm going to call myself. So I am a lisexual gentleman.
Can we show him?
Yep. Big fan of Lie. These films, firstly, I appreciate them putting these two together because obviously it's the Game of Death concept. I think it works. The first one, I enjoy. I don't think I have anything different to say that's not already been said. I enjoy it. It's a solid film. I will admit, about 2 years ago when I watched it, I didn't care for it. I just actually looked at my Letterboxd account, and I think I gave it 2 stars back then. And I think this time around, I gave it 3 stars. It's just, again, it's just fun. It's just a slice of Bruceploitation fun. There's not, in my eye, there's not really much to hate about it. But it's, it's good stuff. Goodbye, Bruce Lee, however, on the other hand, it takes so long to get going. It's so clunky and it's so slow. And by the time the fights roll around or the tower rolls around, it's kind of like, great, it's here, but I've just had to sit through, an hour of bullshit to get here. And I just felt tired by the end of it. It's fine. It's, it's not one I'll go and rewatch. I can't see that happening. I will say about one of the special features, these pop up on a number of discs. I really appreciate the round tables that they have.
Yes. Yeah.
They're short and sweet, but it's so much fun just watching people that love Kung Fu cinema talk about Kung Fu cinema or Bruceploitation or Bruce Lee, whatever it is. It's just fun to see people just chat about it like I would want to chat about it. And that's a good time. I really appreciate those popping up on the discs. But this is not the best disc for me. It's kind of in the middle. I'll return to one of the films, but I can't see myself returning to Goodbye, Bruce Lee.
I do want to point out real quick that my wife watched pretty much all these movies with me as we were going along, and I can tell you she hated Goodbye, Bruce Lee, mainly because of the song. I love the song, but she hated hearing it. So
king of Kung Fu.
It gets stuck in your head though, and it won't go away.
Yeah, I remember,
maybe we'll sing it at the end. We'll see.
They played that song so many times in the movie, and I could see it in her. I could see it in her face that she was not having a good time with that movie.
Sorry, Amber. Sorry about that.
Dragon.
Let's
Go.
I'd kind of dig both of these, right? They're not my favorites on the set, but I like them both, actually. It's hard to for me to kind of put one above the other. Probably Enter the Game of Death, the one that I was more familiar with. I'd kind of had the Vengeance Pack release of that. So I'd seen that pretty recently, looking pretty good. But it was a treat to kind of see it here. I think it looks better on the Severin set than it does on the Vengeance Pack release, if anyone's got that and is worrying about if they should double dip. I loved seeing Lee Hoi San show up for the first of several appearances that he makes, where clearly they just hired Lee Hoi San for a day and got him to do like one scene or one fight in the movies that he shows up in. But I thought he was kind of good fun here. The kind of villains, all the different levels that in Enter the Game of Death that he kind of fights his way up are all suitably cartoonish and kind of good fun. And the whole thing kind of feels like there was that trailer that the Vengeance Pack did where they cut it to the music from the video game. And I kind of look almost on it as being like the first sort of proto video game style ascension, because we never.
You mean Kung Fu, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because it took years for us to kind of actually see what kind of Bruce Lee was intending to do properly when the kind of the assembled footage came out. So this was weirdly prophetic in a few places where they got a couple of things oddly close to what Bruce Lee was planning, like the whole red light means death, and kind of that one when he's fighting the two guys together. And so I kind of enjoy it. I think the pagoda fights look better in Enter the Game of Death, not speaking choreography wise, but just how it's actually been framed and shot. You buy it more as an actual real location, but weirdly it is a real location in the other movie. Kind of once we get to kind of Goodbye Bruce Lee, that is a real pagoda, and it was kind of cool seeing shots from the ground looking up and seeing them fighting on the balcony on the top of level, and even a couple of like Bruce like almost getting pushed off the banister, and you kind of get to see a camera over his shoulder and see like they clearly got a couple of people on the ground to walk and said, "Look, show how high up you are."
Yeah.
Kind of dug all that stuff, right? And I think I can always get into any sort of pagoda fight situation. So for me, I kind of enjoyed them both. Goodbye Bruce Lee, definitely slower, but like Leon said, I like the fact that they tried to do a little bit more of the story, the whole kind of him thinking that he's doing the right thing of trying to save somebody at the beginning, and it's just like a very elaborate kind of con by this guy staging his own death. Pretty good fun, right? I think we could have probably done without the stuff in the movie theater, because that does confuse the plot. But I kind of like them both. The Candy song, yeah, it's pretty funky. I liked when they used instrumental versions of it too. There's a couple of places where they kind of did like other riffs on that. So yeah, I kind of, for me, I think absolutely one of my more favorite discs on the set. And I think and one of my more favorite Bruce Lee entries as well. It's not my absolute favorite, but kind of one of the movies of his that I'll probably return to the most. So yeah, I was all in for it. I always love a yellow jumpsuit. Always keeps me happy.
Yeah, as a little piece of trivia, so Kung Fu obviously is like based on Game of Death, but did you know that Wheels on Meals has an influence in that? Like they're named after characters in that? Did you guys? Yeah. Someone told me that. I was like, really? And I Wikipedia'd it or wherever I saw it. I was like, wow, interesting. That's like a strange mashup, you know?
Because it was called Spartan. Was it called Spartan X when it came out in Japan?
Yeah.
And so I think the title of the game itself was also called like Spartan X when it came out. So you're kind of playing the characters named after Jackie's character in Wheels on Meals and stuff. But yeah. Good
it's called Kung Fu Master in the States, or Kung Fu Master in the arcade, and then it stripped it off to Kung Fu on Nintendo. So yeah. All right. So I mentioned this to Leon earlier. He's going to take us through the next discs.
Okay. Right.
You do not know how happy I am that Leon got these.
Yes. Right, so disc 4, we've got 2. We have The Dragon Lives Again and Bruce and the Iron Finger. So, for The Dragon Lives Again, would anybody like to guess what I have on that?
If you don't have a thumbs down, you're insane.
I'm gonna go in the middle.
For me, knowing Leon, I'm saying definitely thumbs up.
It should be better be a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Hang on, no, that's the wrong one.
That's
The
not
Dragon Lives.
Wrong one. Okay. Wrong picture. Okay.
They're so small on there.
I thought you meant the thumb up.
I was right.
Yeah. God damn it.
So this I think I enjoyed it. It was just a little bit strange. But that being said, I absolutely love Bruce Lee Young. I think I came across him first in Magnificent Bodyguards, probably, and then a little bit later in Broken Oath, which I absolutely adore his performances in those. You know, he's one of those dynamic kicking guys that he's just electric, isn't he? He moves so sharp, so fast, so on point that side of it I really, really loved. And usually I do like films that are a little bit out there, fantasy-ish, as you know. I like stuff like Robo Tricks and all that stuff. But I think it just bit off too much for me, you know, with having the man with no name, Eric Tang being Popeye. I was like, Jesus, I just can't get my bearings here. You know, half of me absolutely loves this film and the other half of me absolutely hates it. But and then we had the like erotic ghost story sort of segment where you got the women in the bath together. I'm like, yeah, I really think this is great. You know, give it to me. I want to join in. But yeah, Dragon Lives Again for me was an absolute mixed bag. But I love that we have this, and it's the same with all the titles, even the ones I've given thumbs down to.
Yeah,
I'm just rating it as a film, but the experience on all of them has been outstanding, and I had such a good time with this. And like you say, if something's so bad it's good, that's perfect. I can dig that. As for the other one, Bruce and the Iron Finger, come on guys, what did I vote for on that?
Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
Where are we? Bloody hell, I really need a bigger screen here. Is that the one? I think that's the one.
Oh, double thumbs up. There you
Double
go.
thumbs up.
Nice.
Double thumbs up. I mean, holy hell. Light is on form in this one. And of course, again, we got Bruce Leung as well. And yeah, the two of them combined and the scraps in this are really, really good. We do have story in there. And I think it flows really, really well throughout the film. Some good stunt work in there. I like some of the camera work. I like you got the Ku Feng in there. I mean, shout out to him. You know, what a great villain. And yeah, I love all the elements in Bruce and the Iron Finger. I wish I could comment on the extras, but I haven't done this yet. But this for me, yeah, it's a win. I really like it, especially Bruce and the Iron Finger. That's one of the standouts of the set for me. I absolutely adore that film, and I will be returning to it several times. I told Shaz, even though she fell asleep, I said, I'm going to get you on a day when you're not tired and you're going to watch that one, because I think it's well worth your time.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'll pass over to Sean. What did you think of Disc 4?
Yeah, this is a good question because so the dragon lives again. Personally, I think they put the worst film with the best film. The dragon lives again. It's too much for me. I love goofy, stupid comedy, and I think this one just pushes the envelope a little too hard. And I got tired of it. Now, don't get me wrong. I imagine a lot of people will love this film because it is one of those so bad it's good, and you can get friends over, drink some beers, and watch this and have a grand old time. And for me, I don't know. I just couldn't get into it. And I love Bruce Leung. I think he's fantastic. Again, like Leon said, he's just incredible to watch when it comes to fight scenes. And in this film, he has so much charisma. And I like that, but it's not enough to win me over. I want to be one of those people that love this film. I really do. I've watched it twice now, and I disliked it both times. And I'm almost ashamed to say I don't like it. But for me, it was the hardest to watch on the set.
Oh wow!
Keep in mind, I have not watched Cameron Connection. I started it, but I couldn't. Not that I gave up on it, but I just didn't have the time to watch it. So yeah,
I envy you.
Yeah. I think I'm one of the
chill, Kaleb. Save it for later. Buddy.
Bruce and the Iron Finger, I absolutely love. I have a Blu-ray release, a standalone Bluray release of that. I'm not sure who was that. Pearl River that released that.
No, it's not one of the Gold Ninja ones, isn't it?
Oh, maybe.
Oh,
No. They did Dragon Strikes Back. I'm sorry, they did the Gold Connection. So yeah, I don't know who did that. Interesting. Yeah. Oh, they might have. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I had that a while ago when it got released, and I've watched it plenty of times. I very much enjoy it. I think it's a fight fest. Seeing Ku Feng complain that sex ruins his kung fu. I mean, come on now, you can't go wrong with that. I think it's great. It's like it's almost like a giallo film. It's like a kung fu giallo film, just a bit cheesier. And it's just super enjoyable. I have a great time with it every time, and I think it's definitely one of the kind of, I wouldn't say top tier Bruceploitations, but it's up there as one of the better Bruceploitation films. It doesn't reach the dizzying heights of Dynamo or the Llama Avenger or something like that. But it is just very, very enjoyable. I have a good time with it. I love the combination of the two Bruceploitation actors. And when I told my wife I wanted to show her the Iron Finger, she was not happy. She very much questioned me. No, a good time. And again, it has a round table on it. I love that. The reason why I'm looking down is I'm looking at the special features.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing we haven't mentioned so far, Michael Wirth's introduction to all these.
So cool.
Such a nice little addition. I watched every single one with that intro, and it's just nice to hear him, give us a little information about the film before we go into the film. And that's such a nice little addition there. And then, of course, there's deleted scenes, which fair enough. I think it's very interesting that we're getting deleted scenes. You know, all of them aren't necessarily great, but it's nice that there's footage out there that was removed from the film that we now get to see. But yeah, solid disc all in all. But I really one day want to be one of those people that love The Dragon Lives Again. And I will watch it again. I will try. Unfortunately, I don't drink, so I won't like it for that reason. But maybe I can take up like heroin or something and watch it again. And, I might have a good time.
Maybe just leave the film.
Yeah, I do want to add real quick about Michael Wirth's introductions with these movies. I love those too. That's also one of my favorite things about this set, because I feel like with a couple of these movies, I probably would have had a really hard time understanding some of them if it were not for Michael Wirth's introductions. So yeah, I'm really
context.
Yeah, it definitely helped with the context with some of them. So yeah, I'm really glad that they threw those in there. That's one of my favorite things about this set. And I do want to backtrack for a second too. Goodbye, Bruce Lee. My favorite special feature is on there, which is the
last Kung Fu picture.
Last Kung Fu picture show.
Yeah,
yes. I love that feature. You know, the tour through Chinatown, showing off all the theaters and stuff like that. That's one of my favorite things, you know, and I love hearing Michael Wirth tell his story about like all the theaters he went to. That's like a really great feature. That's like one of those ones that I had the most fun watching.
Yeah, I think we can all agree, like, Bruceploitation needs context in a way. Like, I know Leon and Kaleb, you guys listen, I think maybe Dragon to a lot of the Clones cast before you watch some of these. I think that's a great way to do it, because I don't know, like, yeah, it just needs context probably. Like, if you watch Drunken Master 2, I think anyone could just be like, wow, you know? Yeah. But Bruceploitation, it at its worst, it still falls into this such a zany genre that's part of the fun of it, you know? But,
yeah.
Right, Dragon's turn.
This disc, another winner for me. The 2 thumbs up for both of these, right? I think Dragon Lives Again, I'm sure, is going to be the one that is probably, for people maybe not huge fans of kind of martial arts cinema or kung fu cinema, I think it's going to be the most popular one on the box set for a lot of people. It's not my favorite one on the whole box set, but I really enjoy it. The dub in particular is fantastic here. The whole "Listen, Dracula, your zombies can't help you."
Listen, Dracula.
A lot of fun. The guy doing the overdub voice for Bruce Lang did a really good job, and goes back to what I was saying earlier, where the ones I really enjoy are the ones that just branch out and do their own thing, and kind of try and deliver something a bit different. So I love the whole concept of basically Bruce in the underworld. And you could just tell who was popular at the time, because that was who he was kind of coming up against. It took me ages to work out the guy who I initially thought was maybe Davy Crockett, then realized was meant to be Kane from Kung Fu, right? Yeah. One of his sort of semi-allies. But yeah, and I really dug it. I think it had a almost Super Inframan-esque quality. It's not as good as Super Inframan, but it had that sort of vibe to it that I kind of dug on. And really kind of good fun seeing Bruce Liang just having a good time. The second film, arguably one of the absolute kind of flat out best movies on the whole set, right? And again, that whole thing of getting to see a kind of a Bruce Lee-esque character in a sort of genre that we never got to see before. And here we kind of get a murder mystery, and it was so kind of cool seeing a kind of police procedural, right? And the difference in Bruce Lee's performance from the disc before to this is night and day. Really, really good in this. Again, we get Lee Hoi San back for one day's filming, rocking a white shirt, white hat combo that I fucking loved. He looks really, really cool in the kind of in the sort of scrapyard, and so much of this could be sorted out so much more easily for him, because his instinct told him like that Ku Feng was probably the guy about 20 times before he actually confronted Ku Feng. And he had this little bracelet that he kept showing to people and being like, that was his sort of reason for whether or not to like throw down with people. It's like, God, come on, you're not a great police detective, but I'm all in. I'm enjoying watching him try and work his way through things. Going undercover at the Kung Fu school was pretty good fun too. But yeah, I absolutely love this. And Ku Feng is such a treat. Again, another Shaw's veteran that was in so many movies. And here you kind of got a chance to do a little bit more than Shaw's ever sometimes gave him the chance to do. They certainly never got to sort of see him play a sexually frustrated kind of like
Madman.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. And the kind of black sort of kind of face covering that he kind of used when he went out was pretty cool to see too. I just thought the whole thing worked really well. So yeah, definitely, I think Iron Finger my favorite film of the two. But I really enjoyed The Dragon Lives as well. I think both of these are kind of really good, solid entries. One of my more, I think the discs that I'll probably return to more again. There's certain discs I know I'm probably never going to put into my player again. Cameron Connection. We'll get there in a second. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed them both. And special features wise, echo what Kaleb said, that kind of last Kung Fu Picture Show extra, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The last,
Yeah.
Was really cool, right? And I think kind of really interesting to see it, though a little bit tinged with sadness when you kind of see how sad San Francisco's kind of looking now, right? Towards the end. But yeah, no, kind of just a really nice, well thought out. All of Michael Worth's little short films, because I think it's dismissive in a way to call them just featurettes, right? I think he did a good job of trying to do something a little bit different. He clearly doesn't like doing people just sitting talking straight to camera for the whole thing, so he tries to kind of find more interesting, more creative ways to deliver it. So yeah, I thought that was great too. I haven't checked out the commentaries yet, but I definitely will for these.
Cool.
Excellent. Go Jace.
Yeah, so Dragon Lives again. Going into it when it started, a lot of these, like when I moved to LA, I went to Tarantino's theater. I brought that up a lot. That's almost like my in American Pie, that girl keeps saying, one time at band camp, that's like my band camp a little bit. Like that gave me like such an introduction to how you can see these movies, how if something can be so slow that the audience can just crack up at one little thing and it makes the movie go to another level. So watching movies through that lens, I can love like some of the ones we're going to get into later, mostly. But Dragon Lives Again, I thought was going to be like that, but it's so over the head, hits you so over the head with everything that it kind of, and it goes in circles. Like I think they only had like 3 sets. It felt like every time there was an important fight, they'd go to the rocks, outside of the rocks, and then they were in the other sets. But I do like Bruce Long. They did a good job of everything seeming like a fever dream. That's something I wrote here. It's like really surreal. And yeah, it was good. It just was kind of middle of the road for me, maybe towards thumbs down, just because it's so over the head that it didn't have that subtle grindhouse thing where like the audience would laugh, but it just seemed too like I said, just like too on the mark sometimes for me, the humor. And then for Bruce and the Iron Finger, I absolutely loved it. I feel this shows Bruce Lee coming into his later period, where I say he like did a deal with the devil. I don't know what he did. It's just 1977. He's like, you know what? I'm here now and I'm going to fight awesome. And I can act like really good. And and this isn't like fully into that, but maybe it is 79, I think, but it just, they did a different direction of this, of the thriller aspect. And and I don't know what's going on with Ku Feng. Like there was a sexual thing on, but he was turned. I thought he had rabies at time. His eyes were bugging out. He was just like I don't know. He cracked me up. In the fight, let me see here what I wrote here. Some other things. Bruce Lang is a great martial artist. The fight versus him with the slow-mo was like kind of iconic feeling. I thought that was pretty cool, and it was great. And I agree with everyone there. The Lux was such a cool documentary. The last Kung Fu Picture Show. And I had talking to Michael about that, and I could really see his emotion in that. And is that the one with there's funny things with Frank Zhang in the alley. A car comes and you could see him swear under his breath. And they're just like, forget that scene. And then Frank Zhang, I like seeing him do those forms in the street. I thought that was really cool. I didn't know he knew.
A bit Hungar, wasn't it?
Okay, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. I know Hungar does like a lot of.
I think it was Wing Chun. Like,
maybe
at least that's how I'm remembering it. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a great. And they have good chemistry, even if they're not on screen together. You can tell they were having fun just running around the city, and And Dragon, you may know. I think that's Frank Zhang's hometown. I know he was like born in Kowloon, but is that where he was stationed out of the U.S. or like where he lives mainly?
No, he's in Oakland.
Oh, right, but that's where they were at, though, wasn't it?
Really? Oh, I thought they were almost. I thought San Francisco and Oakland quite far away from each other, aren't they?
No, they're like basically the same. They're basically the same.
Okay.
Then so that's like where they were at in Oakland. Cool. Yeah, and that's where Big Trouble in China is from, that Chinatown.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool too.
Yeah, Dragon Lives Again. much like Leon, I loved everything about it, and I also hated everything about it. It's definitely S tier as far as like entertainment goes. I was having a blast with that movie, but at the same time, I was also just sitting there like, what is happening? Because there's just so many bizarre things. The ending threw me for a loop with Bruce like floating up and away, and it's yeah, but Bruce Long fighting was great. He is an incredible martial artist. It's a lot of fun. The dub is hilarious in like a really fun way. I always talk about how much I love classic English dubs in these old kung fu movies. You know, listen, Dracula. Like that's like that line is going to stick with me for the rest of my life. Probably it will live rent free in my head forever. It's just so much fun, you know, and the characters. I know Sean wasn't a big fan of all the characters, but I did like seeing, you know, Popeye and Zatoichi and James Bond. I think the one in the white suit was supposed to be Scarface. I don't know, or maybe the Godfather or something like that. But
yeah,
Was there an Indiana Jones in there? I couldn't tell.
That was Kane, wasn't it?
that was Kane.
So.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I thought it was
Yeah.
Indiana Jones as well. I thought it was already Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I didn't know who that was. Like I had to look it up because like seeing him like with the hat and everything. I'm like, who is that supposed to be? And so I went and like looked it up. I'm like, oh, okay, it's David Carradine. But yeah,
I want to walk the lands like Kane in Kung Fu.
Yeah, but yeah, Dragon Lives Again. That was pure entertainment. I'll give it that. It was definitely pure entertainment. That's something that I think I could throw on if I have a bunch of friends over. Not that my friends would probably hate me if I put them through that, but you know, I think it'd be a lot of fun. Bruce and the Iron Finger. I love that movie. Another one of my favorites on the set. I did have a bit of a gripe when it came to Kufang. There wasn't a problem with Kufang's performance. He was great, but what I didn't like was kind of just like the way they told the story with him, because, you know, like you were saying, or I think Dragon said it a minute ago, where, you know, Bruce Lee is kind of like the world's worst detective in this, but, you know, because as far as the audience goes, clearly it's Kufang, but you know, but Bruce Lee, you know, they haven't, in the other characters of the film, they haven't figured that out yet, and I think they probably could have done a better job with you know, making this seem more of like a mystery instead of just us knowing outright that it's Kufang. They even like say in the movie, like when Bruce Lee has questioned people about this, like, who does anybody know the Iron Finger style? Is like, oh yeah, Kufang does, and he still can't figure it out.
Yeah, and what I want to add on that,
Sorry.
but what I just want to add in there, like, it's so obvious to us, right? But when the moment comes where you think it's going to be like, it's me, they don't really have the moment where Kufang is revealed. You know what I mean? Like they're missing. The movie's missing that element, and like, not that you need it, but they're just like, I don't know what happens. There's no big reveal.
Yeah,
no, they just skip straight to chasing him through the docks, right?
Yeah. But yeah, and I will also add in here that Bruce Lee, huge step up in performance. Like whenever Jason was like stressing to me how Bruce Lee improved so much after like Goodbye Bruce Lee and stuff like that, because Goodbye Bruce Lee I was super disappointed with, and when I watched Iron Finger, I was like, okay, now I get it. Like, because Bruce Lee is so incredible in this movie. His fight choreography is so smooth. You can see he's way more confident with his choreography. He's got like a swagger with him, like whenever he's like walking around and when he's talking with people and stuff like that. And honestly, I think I didn't even really see this movie as Bruceploitation. I didn't think the mannerisms were really there. Bruce Lee just looks like Bruce Lee. It's just a movie with a guy who kind of looks like Bruce Lee. I didn't even really see this as Bruceploitation. And I love the fight between Bruce Lee and Bruce Long. The whole chase through the building is really great. And fighting on the roof, that's all fantastic. Yeah, Bruce and Iron Finger, one of my favorite movies on this set.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it falls into Bruceploitation because they couldn't get away from it, and the advertisers, just because they were in it, it just fell under the umbrella, you know? And I accept that, but that's part of the cool part of the story is Bruce Lee trying to break away, and you can tell there's no thumb in the nose, there's no.
And isn't he even in the titles? He's in his actual name too, isn't he? He's in his Ho Shang Do.
Yeah, I think, but the problem is once it hits America, they just slapped Bruce Lee right back on the posters and all that, you know. And I heard at one point a producer or something held a knife up to his throat and said to him, "You're gonna play Bruce Lee. It's gonna say Bruce Lee. You're not gonna." And like that's what made him go do Chinese stuntman, because he felt so like. I mean, that's like the worst thing you could ever do. You'd think you'd go to the police, but I guess who knows? It could be a triad related thing or something, But
That's great.
not to be a downer, but
Yeah.